Welcome back. I want to give you an update on my garden today. There's a lot of things that are fruiting. A lot of my exotic plants that I am growing this year are doing quite well. So I want to show you how they're doing. The first plant I want to highlight is this pomegranate. This is a Crimson Sky Russian Pomegranate and is doing so well. It's produced a few pomegranates this year, and here is the very first one I found, and the color on this is amazing. It is a dark pink and it's just so beautiful. It is not super big, but you can see it is beautiful. There is a second one back here, and I saw a few more on the tree, but they are quite small, and I don't think they are going to have enough time to get mature before the frost. So I just wanted to show you guys that one. It's so beautiful. It's starting to turn yellow. I think it's because of the drought we've been having, but I've been watering it, so hopefully those do. So hopefully I'll get to eat at least 2 of them. From this right here is a Chinese Windmill Palm, and I just put it into the ground this spring, so I'm hoping to cover it a little bit this year, and hopefully it will survive. It does not produce fruits that I will eat, but I'll be very happy just looking at it. My papayas in the containers are semi okay. These guys keep dropping the leaves. I believe the pot that I have here is still not big enough for it, so it keeps dropping the leaves. I'm hoping to overwinter this one inside my house, and next spring I'm going to plant it out into the yard, and hopefully I will get papayas next year. We'll see. I have a second one over here, and I have like 5 more pots with papayas that I plan on overwintering and carrying into the spring, and hopefully planting them outside. In this area over here I have another pomegranate, and this one has produced a few, but it's getting this splashes here and it drops them. So I harvested one early last week because this one is not going to survive. So I'd rather eat a little bit even if it's not fully ripe. And then I have this one over here. This one is the same variety. I thought there were different varieties, but these are both Crimson Sky, and they're doing quite well. This one is still small. The tree is probably 6 foot tall, but it is producing, which I'm very happy about. The Cucummelons are doing so well this summer, and my daughter loves them. She comes in here, and this spot right here does not have any Cucummelons because she eats all of them. So I have to go to the very top, and I find even more up here. Cucummelons. They're very easy to grow, and they are in the cucumber family. Totally recommend growing this. This is my sesame seeds that I am growing, and they are very prolific, I'll tell you that. So the process will be hard, because what will be hard is getting them out of the seed pods and getting them to dry without losing them to squirrels and other animals. One of the plants already started dying back over here, but I think this was because of the drought, and I've been eating a few of the seeds. They're very cool. So stay tuned for a video on those guys. Oh, here's a little pod with the sesame seeds. And if I go like this, tiny sesame seeds come out of here. The red banana that I was hoping that would put out a bit of a stalk for a flowering stalk has not produced any flowers, but it has produced quite a few side pubs. And I'm excited because I'll get to take some of those side pubs and take them inside my house or plant them in different areas to hopefully ensure survival for the winter months. This right here is the butterfly ginger, and it has not produced any flowers yet. So I hope that it survives the winter, and hopefully we can see some flowers next year. The canna lilies are spreading themselves now because these came up on their own, and check out these beautiful flowers. The hummingbirds really love them, so that's why I grow them. The papa trees this year are putting on a lot of growth. They are popping above the canopy of the grapes and the blackberries, to the point where I'm thinking about removing all the blackberries and placing them elsewhere this year, because next year they are creating way too much shade over here. So I want to remove the blackberries, plant them in the back, and then have this area be a bit more open, because the mosquitoes also love to hide in this area that is too bushy. This area has gotten very weedy this year, but that's all right. I got plenty of harvest from the fence line, so that was good. But next year I'm thinking already of clearing this out a little bit better. There's a lot of pumpkins inside this mess over here. But what I want to show you is the taro. Check out how big the taro has gotten this year. It's definitely not as many. Last year this whole area was taro. And what I found about taro is that if you mulch it really heavy, you can leave it in the ground and it will survive. I dug it all out and kept it inside my garage, but then it got moldy and it rotted. So I had to start with a few new corms this year. But somehow I left a few in the ground that I didn't harvest. It's like harvesting potatoes. You leave some behind. And then they came up on their own this year. I had like 3 of them that came on their own. So I totally will be leaving most of them in the ground and just mulching them, because that's a better way for them to survive. This over here is also the butterfly ginger, and it has not produced a flower either. So I'm hoping that they produce more side shoots, because I can dig them out next year and spread them around the yard a little bit better. Look out how crazy weedy my backyard is right now. The squirrels had a field day, or a field summer, because they ate all of my corn. And my beautiful fig trees are surpassing my garage now. Check out how tall they are. They are producing a ton of figs, and it is amazing how many figs I am getting out of these 2 trees. Check out these beautiful canna lilies. These are just amazing. And I have my banana plants back there. Check those out. Last year I had them over there, right? Remember that? And I decided to dig them out. Well, that was useless. I lost almost all the corms that I dug out of there because they rot. So this year I'm not messing with them. I'm just gonna leave them where they are, and hopefully they just start growing next summer. This plant right here is the beautiful Moga ginger. I was corrected online. It's supposed to be pronounced me, and it produces beautiful flowers at the bottom, and I pickled them, and I have been eating them on top of white rice. Oh my goodness, it is so delicious. It tastes like fresh ginger, not super pungent, and it's a beautiful bright purple, and it's so delicious. I totally recommend Moga ginger. Next year I'm going to be separating a few of these plants into different areas of the garden, so hopefully I'll have more of this next year. Here's Kayla watching. She's always trying to hunt anything that crosses our yard, which is great. This right here is the cassava or yucca, and it has gotten really big in the last 2 months. We had some beautiful rains last month, and those really helped to get a little bit of growth into them. So what I'm hoping is that it produces the edible root at the bottom. But what I'm really after is this stem right here. This stem, I will be able to keep a few cuttings of it and put it in my greenhouse. So hopefully I'll have a rootstock of it to produce even more cassava plants next year. So that's the hope. And how about this scene right back here? I have my beautiful cassava plant. I also have a sugar plant right back there, and the banana plant as well. Check how beautiful that is. Check how beautiful this little spot is. Isn't it gorgeous? This right here just looks like the tropics, man. I got the cassava cuttings from Etsy. I bought 4 of them. They were about 20 bucks. So not super expensive to get into it. So hopefully they produce something. If they don't produce anything, I mean, I just enjoy looking at these plants. They look like castor beans. And I thought about planting castor beans, but they are highly toxic. And I don't want them in my yard because my daughter could eat one of them, so I'm not planting anything that is too toxic. And somehow there's a papaya growing over here. Must have planted this little seedling together with the yucca because they are coming out of the same spot. So this year I'm not going to bother digging it out. And here is my sad looking sugar cane this year. It did not like the shock of coming in and out of the ground. There's a guy in North Alabama, and he is in zone 7B. So what I'm thinking about doing, what he does is mulching the plant really heavily, and it just comes back from the roots. So that's what I'm going to do this year. I'm going to mulch it really heavy, and hopefully it comes back. I have one here and I have a second one over there, but they just didn't do anything this year. It was so dry, so there was no growth on it. And this is not going to produce an edible piece this year, which is kind of crazy. Last year I got a few canes, and this year I'll get nothing. But that's just gardening, my friends. Some years are really good and some years are just not that good. Inside my greenhouse I have been doing a little bit of organizing, and I have been doing a little bit of planting. And let me show you what's inside the greenhouse. I'm actually going to need to install my little heat piston that opens and closes the window as we get closer to the cold days, because some days we have gotten down to 58 degrees already, so it's getting quite cool over here. As we step into the greenhouse, we have our beautiful loquat tree that is growing quite happily in here. I also have my yuzu plant here, and this one produced a few flowers in the spring, but it dropped all of them. It actually got pollinized and had little fruits, but I think it was too hot in here, so it dropped all of the fruits. But I'm really after the growth on this one, because once it has some woody material, I'm going to be able to take cuttings from it and make really good cuttings so I can propagate the plant. You can see here I gotten very good at propagating citrus. These are Meyer lemons cuttings that I took in the winter of last year, and this is a key lime cutting, and I've gotten very good at propagating those. So I'm very confident that once I get more material from this one, I can make it into 1,000 plants. My Meyer lemon is struggling because it has scale. If you have something that works for scale really well, let me know. The ants are farming the scale, and I have been adding Dust 7, which is a pesticide, and the ants don't care. They just keep on coming. But I got 9 lemons out of this bad boy last year, and I was hoping to get more this year, but there's no lemons on it. You see over here, they're all shriveled up, so I'm not going to be getting any lemons this year. This is a coffee tree seedling, and I started it in the spring, so hopefully I'll get this to grow really big in here, and hopefully one day in like 6-7 years I can drink my own cup of coffee. I also have this guava tree that I thought died last winter, but it made it, and it has put on some growth this year, so I'm very hopeful that next year I'll see a guava from this tree. 2 years ago it made flowers and it had 2 guavas on it, but it was in a pot and I forgot to water it for a week, and then the guavas dropped. So I'm hopeful that I'll get to try guavas. This is dwarf Cavendish banana, and the reason I'm going with dwarf now is because these were supposed to be dwarf as well, and check out how big they are. Huge. And I'm hopeful that they won't get too big because the winter is coming, so they'll stop growing a little bit. But next year I might remove the 2 panels here in the spring once the frost has passed, and hopefully we'll get a rack of bananas from either of these plants. I was really hoping for a side pub from these guys, but I didn't get any side pubs. They are growing 1 stem right now and no backup. So I'm really hopeful that these guys will make it this winter. And check out the beautiful leaves. I love being in this canopy of the bananas. They're so beautiful. I have another yuzu here and a little Mexican lime here. This side over here, the dragon fruit is doing really well. The second one died, but this one survived and is growing everywhere right now. And I hope to put in some sort of trellis and make this entire roof line filled with dragon fruit. I also put in a fig tree in here just because I want to grow fig trees a little bit earlier and a little bit later. And just because I want to grow a fig tree in here, see what happens. It's already getting too big, but I think it's going to be okay. It's already getting a little too big for this space, but we'll see if it can extend my growing season. For this is a Chicago hardy, so it would be able to survive outside, but I'm just trying it in. If I don't like it, I can just cut it and we'll be fine. This is my little tropical plant corner. Check out these little plants that I have in here, and I'm just doing it for fun at this moment. I have another cutting of a Meyer in here. This is an avocado I had in here last year that thought it died, but it came back. I have some lemongrass. I have a little lemongrass there. This is a calamandan. I recently planted this one into the ground and it's doing okay right now. Hopefully it comes back to life soon. Orange. These are orange seedlings that I started from seed, and then a few key limes and my very own seed grown citrus here. I can't remember what it is, but I gave it a big old haircut the other day because it was growing way too high. So that's the update on the garden. I hope that you enjoyed it, and stay tuned because very soon a lot of plants are going to be coming into the greenhouse, and we're going to be gardening inside the greenhouse. I also have a commercial greenhouse that I have access to, and I have been potting a lot of plants over there. So one of these days I'll take the camera and I'll make a video about my commercial greenhouse. All right, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.